Hello everyone. Is it everybody can hear me?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, so let me introduce myself. So my name is Nick Yap. So I will be conducting for this HCNA, HNTT for the exam, for the certification exam. So this is on the HCNA level. So in this case, let me just going through everything. So for this section, you are going to cover within 3 hours. So first of all, I will going to go through with all of you with the Huawei HCNA certification exam for the H12211 as on the network associate level. Okay, this will be on the Huawei network associate level. So this is the just showing you on the outline of this HCNA exam. So for this exam itself, that is on the it's a prerequisite for you to go for any other certification. So under the HCNA, that the duration for this exam you'll be going to take about 90 minutes. So 90 minutes in total, they're going to take about 60 questions. 60 questions for the passing score, you'll be 600 over 1000. All right. So, and below on the 2.0 over here is on the exam outline. So they're going to tell you that what is the topic they're going to cover under the exam. So the HCNA exam cover on the basic IP network connectivity, a TCP/IP technology, Ethernet technology such as the spanning tree, ISTP, VLAN link aggregation, and they are implemented with the Huawei switches, routing principle involved of the RIP, OSPF. So all the IPv4 and V6 WAN technology, under the WAN technology, we involve of the PPP over Ethernet, frame relay, and the IP-based security. So how you perform on the access control and the port security and so on, as well as on the network management and also V6 application services. So this is on the content itself, but every single knowledge point they covered, like IP network principle, they're covered based on the Ethernet and the IP base. TCP/IP network protocol and data encryption. So this one is going through a very basic, as in how the OSI layer or how the TCP/IP layers for the 5 layer and the 7 layers, how they perform on the data encryption and de-encapsulation of every single packet or frame that's sent across. But the next one is on the VRP command for the basic navigation and also the configuration. So this VRP itself is just like our OS. Sorry, whoever joined, can you mute your mic? Thank you. So for the VRP command, it be just like the OS, just like a OS in Huawei device. So this VRP command is going to show you that how we are going to use the use to the Huawei command line. So it will be slightly different with other vendors. Then after that, you have a IPv4 addresses principle, address design and subnetting. So this one is going to give you the structures, the architectures on the IPv4 address. So how many bytes in total, how we perform the subnet mask, how we perform based on the host address and the network address. As well as we're going to go through application such as the ping, tracer, FTP, and telnet. How you're going to configure it, how you're going to perform the troubleshooting. So this is on the first portion on the IP network principle they're going to cover. And next will be on the LAN technology. Under the LAN technology, they involve of the LAN switch operation, a link aggregation application, as well as the configuration, VLAN, GVRP, and the behaviors, spanning tree, and the rapid spanning tree behaviors. So that is more into the layer 2 technology. So we're going to get the ideas of how the layer 2 runs, what's the differentiation compared to the hub, switches, and for the link aggregation, so how we're going to bundle the link together. So how we're going to differentiate by all the VLAN together, spanning tree, how you're going to prevent a loop into the layer 2. This is on the LAN technology. Under the WAN technology, the principle of the serial technology in the wide area network, just talk about what it be the frame relay, a PPP over Ethernet, a PPP, HDLC, and so on. So that is what we covered on the WAN technology. After that, it'll be on the routing technology. So we're going to cover a layer by layers. First, we're going to go through all the 7 layers or the 5 layers. After that, it starts from layer 2. And now it'll be the layer 3. Layer 3, we're going to cover the static and the dynamic routing principle. So what's the differentiation and what type of dynamic routing protocol that we have? And followed by RIP OSPF dynamic routing protocol function, as well as how we're going to implement into the VRP. So using our VRP software, the OS, how we're going to implement the RIP OSPF. Then the next point will be on the network security. How we're going to perform a traffic filtering technology and their application in the enterprise network. How we're going to use the route selection tools, the ACL, IP prefix, and the user management through the authentication and also authorization scheme. And IPsec VPN technology for the protecting user data, as well as how the network security is ensured by using network security technology and the firewall. So over here, they give you some basic ideas of how we're going to perform a user management, how we're going to set up the AAA with the authentication, authorization, as well as the accounting, and how you perform on the IPsec VPN, as well as on the GIE tunnels, and how the network security is ensured by using network security technology and the firewall. So all the ACL rules, how you define all the advanced ACL and apply into our devices. Then you have also the network management protocol and those technology. So under the network management, that is how we are going to control our control or maintain and also monitoring our network. So by using the SNMP, so we are going go in depth into the SNMP and what type of software or application that we're going to be used to perform the network management. And the last but not the least, IPv6 networking. So we're going to cover all the IPv6 principle and technology, IPv6 routing technology, and application service for the IPv4 V6 network. So over here, they're going to cover what's a basic, what's a differentiation between V4 and also IPv6, as well as the routing technology, how we're going to perform IP, the next generation, IPNG, or how we're going to apply a DHCP through the IPv6 environment. So actually, this is all the topic they're going to be covered under the HCNA. All right. So in total, that will be the main topic to contain they're going to take from your exam. So in total, 60 questions, and the duration will be 90 minutes. All right. So if let's say that you have any question, you can just take a note. That's later part, we have a Q&A section. So I'm going to allow you to ask a question on the last portion. So first portion, I just give you the outline. And after this, I will going through some of the materials. So the materials I will going through over here, I will going to have few topic I'm going to cover. So for the first topic that I covered for today is about on the VLAN. All right, as a VLAN principle. So because right now we have a limited time, so I'm going to cover more focus into what the differentiation compared to other vendors, and also what they're going to come out from your exam, let's say. All right, so for the first topic that will cover here will be on the VLAN principle. Okay, based on the VLAN principle here, as we know that, I think all of you should know what you mean by the VLAN. VLAN actually is called as a VLAN virtual local area network. All right, so under virtual local area network represent a form of administrative network that define logical grouping. So as we know that, let's say on the normal switches, without any VLAN defined, they are considered a single broadcast domain. So whoever into that domain, when you send a broadcast packet, everybody you are going to receive. So to reduce this, the application of VLAN technology will come in to say that, oh, right now I'm going to divide into all the logical grouping of all the hosts or the end station. So to make it to isolate on the broadcast. So for the objective over here, they're going to explain the application of the VLAN tagging, okay, based on the VLAN tagging, and describe the different port link type. So on the port link type, there's some difference compared to other vendors, because in Huawei, the port link type, they're going to have three different types. Okay, there are three different type of the link type. So I'm going to go in depth for this in the later part, and as well as the characteristic, as well as how we're going to successfully establish based on the port-based VLAN. So I'm going to show you a simple lab that how I perform based on the port-based VLAN for that how to configure it through our VRP. So at first, we know that what's the limitation. The limitation on the VLAN, on the LAN, sorry. So under the LAN limitation, you will see that on this diagram, when one of the PC here, when they're sending a broadcast, so when they're sending a broadcast from this PC, all other PC, all other switches, we are going to receiving. So we need to know the behavior of the switches. The switches behaves that when the switch receives a broadcast packet, the switch, what you're going to do, I will just broadcast to everybody, broadcast to every single port that is available. So in this case, there are no broadcast domain to manage the expanding local network. That is what you said here. So it means that every single PC, they are under a same group by default. All right. So how we're going to perform this implementation by using a VLAN, we are going to do a grouping to group different hosts or different PC as a different VLAN. So in this case, based on the diagram here, you will find that I have two different groups. I have group 1, okay, group 1 as well as a group 2. So whichever in the group 1, they will only able to talk within each other. Group 1 only talk between group 1 and group 2 will talk within group 2. So when the VLAN apply, they will isolate on the layer 2 as well as a layer 3. So a VLAN is enable logical isolation of the traffic at the data link layers. Okay, when the layer 2 isolated, all other layer on top will be isolated as well. But definitely you have other way for them to communicate through the layer 3 by using a routing. Otherwise, you'll be just isolated each other. All right, that is on the VLAN itself. So by having the VLAN, first thing you found that after the VLAN defined, how we're going to creating the VLAN? How you based on? They're based on a port base. So I will say that this port, they belong to the group 2. This port belong to the group 2. This port belong to group number 1, group number 1, and group number 2. So the grouping on the VLAN technology, they will not fix to every different switches. It can be logically anywhere that you are, as long as you assign to the correct or to the same VLAN, they should able to communicate. But then how the switch identify that who you are, either you are under group 1 or group 2. So in this case, we must perform the tagging. And this is what we are going to go through later part. So the tagging is one to able to identify where you come from and where you are going through. So this to identify that who you are. So for the VLAN frame format, it was also about the VLAN tagging. Under the VLAN frame format, you'll find that from here, we'll have the untag. We'll have untag frame and also a tag frame. So untag frame will be just what we send as normal in the layer 2 within the same VLAN. The tag frame that we have over here, they are using the standard of 802.1q. These are the standard they are using in Huawei, and this is a only standard in Huawei. All right, that will be the tagging. A tagging is after the source MAC address. All right, so that involve of in total for this tagging they will have 4 bytes. Within the 4 byte, we have a TPID, PCP, DEI, and also a VLAN ID. So under the TPID itself, it represents that you are running as an Ethernet. A PCP over here is more for the QoS based on your priority. The priority of a QoS, in total they have a 3-bit. Okay, 3-bit. As well as the DET, this DET is just to tell you that what are the environment that you are in. Either you're under the normal network or you're under token ring. And the last one is on your VLAN ID. Is in total, they have 12 bit. 12 bit in total, how many number that we have? How many VLAN that we can define? So 2 power of 12, you will get 4096. But the usable VLAN is from VLAN 1 up to 4094. Okay, they are the VLAN that it can be assigned. So in total have 12 bit, and the VLAN that we have is from 1 to 4094. All right. So a VLAN tag is inserted to distinguish that the frame from each of the VLAN. So it means that let me take this example here. So I'm going to have 2 switches. All right. So I have 4 PC connect between the 2 switches. So over here I have a PCA, PCB, C, and D. So every single switches by default, they're going to assign every single port, okay, on the device, they will have a identical. That's what we call as under the default VLAN. So this port, we call this as a PVID, a port VLAN ID. So every single port, they do have their PVID. And this PVID, let me write it down on top here. Okay. Port VLAN ID. And this port VLAN ID, default is VLAN 1. And this information always we call as a untag. It's an untag frame. So it means that it's a normal frame. So that's why everybody belong to the same VLAN, a same broadcast domain. So when everybody PVID is equal to 1, equal to 1, equal to 1, equal to 1, Okay, when everybody is equal to VLAN 1, then in this case, they are able to communicate to each other. So they are joining to the same broadcast domain. So, but let's say by the time they're modifying, so they're modifying this one, the PVID. This one I modified to VLAN 5. This one I modified to VLAN 10. This is VLAN 5. This is VLAN 10. When this VLAN has been modified already, PCA and PCC are in one single group. B and D as another group. When there are two different groups, how they're going to communicate to each other? All right, they can't communicate to each other. They only can communicate within their own group. But the point is, when PCA, a frame going out from the switch, how I know that this frame is belong to who? How I know that it belong to VLAN 5 or belong to the VLAN 10? So in this case, the tagging is important. The tagging over here, you could identify that where you come from. Either you come from VLAN 5 or you come from a VLAN 10. So to identify that when the switch receive, I know that who I should forwarding to. Should I forward to the PCC or should I forward to the PCD? So all this based on the tagging. All right. So that is on the VLAN tagging itself, how we are going to identify. So when we're going to the tagging, so I will introduce you, they have two link type here. The link type, the first link type that we have is a access, as well as the trunk. That will be the two link type in total that we're supporting. Okay, so a trunk represents a backbone for the transmission of a VLAN traffic between the switches. So you see that on the trunk connection is always between two switches. Okay, the trunk. Can everybody, whoever join, please mute your mic? Thank you. So I will have all the trunk connection. Sorry, can you please mute your mic? All right. Okay, let me continue. So for the link type, they have trunk. Its trunk is always connect between the switches. Okay. Trunk switch to switches. For access, switch to a machine. All right. So a trunk represents a backbone. So they're going to allow multiple VLAN to pass across between the two switches, among the switches. That is how it performs. And for the link between the switches and the PC, we on the access. Okay, this all the access connection. Okay, access connection, access connection. This is all the trunk connection. All right. So whichever traffic, when you send a traffic across, when you have a frame sending out from the PC, when the switch receive, they're based on what is your PVID and perform the tagging, as well as they're going to do a tagging and between the two switches. All right, that is they have two different link type. They have a trunk and also access. So based on the port VLAN ID, as I mentioned just now, this port VLAN ID, you be always default is PVID1, but definitely you can modify. So based on this environment, on these examples, I have PVID2, 3, and 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So PVID represents the default VLAN of each of the interface, and the PVID is set to the VLAN 1 for all the port by default. So that's why the default VLAN will be a VLAN 1. So this VLAN 1 is always under a same broadcast domain. Regardless of which model or which vendor that you purchase, always the managed switches, default VLAN is VLAN 1. All right, but definitely you can modify based on what you're going to define. Let's say right now, we are going to group this PC, these two PC as one single group. So you're going to define them as a VLAN 2, sorry, my mistake. Define as a VLAN 2. Okay, so you can be logically grouped. I don't care where is the location, I can be easily group the PC as in single group. But what you need to modify, you modify based on the port VLAN ID. Right? So that is the first thing that I assess. So you found that from here, from the host A, when host A send a frame, because normally a host, they will not sending a tag frame. Always it's just a normal frame, untagged frame. When untagged frame go into the switch port, go into the switch, when you say your default PVID is VLAN 10, I'm going to add a tag into your frame. Okay, add a PVID 10 into the frame. Then the switch will check which interface are going to untag the VLAN 10. All right. So when you have a PVID equal to VLAN 10, inbound to switch port, I will tag VLAN 10. Outbound from switch port, I will untag 10. So PVID is always like this. When you go into the switch port, I will add the tag that what is your PVID is. And when you're going out from the switch port, I will untag based on your PVID. So inbound, I'm going to tag. Outbound, I'm going to untag. So in this case, for the host C, it's also VLAN 10. So I'm going to untag the 10 and send a normal frame to the host C. I will not send out from the PVID 2 because they are different PVID. So they cannot communicate. A can talk to C, but they can't talk to B. Okay, access point remote VLAN tag before a forwarding frame. Always remember how they're based on. They're based on what is your PVID, inbound, tag, outbound, untag. When they're going into the switch port, they will tag the VLAN 10. When they go out from the switch port, they will going to untag based on your PVID. This is on the access link type. So every single port, they can only have a single PVID only. You cannot have more than one PVID. All right. So every single access port, they can have only one single PVID. And for the next one, as a trunk. As I mentioned just now, a trunk is connect between switches. So I have a switch A and switch B. They are connect each other. So you see that I have PVID 10 connecting to host A, PVID 20 connect to the host B, PVID 10 connecting to the switch B, and PVID 10 connecting to switch A. PVID host C, PVID 20 for host D. So you see that from here right now, host A send an untagged frame. Okay, trunk they also have a one PVID, and they allow multi VLAN to pass through. Okay. So we found that from here, I have VLAN 10 for this interface, VLAN 20 from this interface. Host A send an untagged frame. As I mentioned just now, when the switch receive, I will add that is called is a VLAN 10. Okay, based on PVID, I tag. When I'm going out from PVID 10, I untag. All right. When I go into switch B, my go inbound is VLAN 10, so I add as a VLAN 10. When I going out, I untag. All right, that is on the when they're having the same PVID. This is how they perform. But when host B send a frame going to the switch, we found that this is untagged. So when the switch receive, I will receive this with the VLAN 20. Okay? I will tag based on PVID. When I going out, so this link as a trunk. When trunk, you can only have one PVID, and you allow VLAN 20 to pass through. When you allow VLAN 20 to pass through, I will not remove your VLAN 20. I will just send as the same VLAN 20 and pass through the switch B as normal. Okay. When switch 2 receive, it receive the 20. Then we'll check. Outbound, who untag VLAN 20? Okay. This port, PVID 20, I untag. So I send a normal frame. So you can see that the difference between the access interface and a trunk interface. Access interface, they only have a one PVID. As in, when the trunk have one PVID, and also they can allow multiple VLAN to pass. So you have to specify what VLAN they be allowed throughout a trunk connection. So that is what you said. A frame carry over a trunk link may be tagged or untagged. Untagged when it's same as your PVID. Tag allow VLAN. The VLAN that you allow, you be tagged. When it's same as your PVID, you'll be untagged. And all VLAN must be permitted before being carried over a trunk. So that's why we need to allow VLAN 20 first. Let's say not allow VLAN 20, you are not able to sending out. All right, that will be on the second type of the trunk. So far, okay. Let's say you have any question, you just take a note. Later, we have a Q&A section. Then the next one is on the hybrid. So this hybrid link type is a proprietary by Huawei. Huawei VRP. So as I mentioned just now, we have access, trunk, and hybrid. Get to it like this. All right, so we have three different types. We have access link type, a trunk link type. As what I mentioned just now, for the access link type, we have one PVID. Trunk, a one PVID. So whoever just joined, can you mute your mic, please? For the access, they have not allowed VLAN. They have no untapped VLAN. Okay. For trunk, PBID 1 PBID, and the allowed VLAN, they can allow from VLAN 1 to 4094. This VLAN they can be allowed. And trunk, they cannot untap VLAN. So this untapped VLAN is only allowed under the hybrid link type. So hybrid link type, there are 1 PBID. I can allow 1 to 4094 of VLAN. I also can untag 1 to 4094 of the VLAN. So hybrid, it be mixed between access and trunk. It's a combination. So when using a hybrid, you can act as a access or you can act as a trunk connection. Okay, that can be either. It can be a hybrid access or it can be the hybrid trunk. So I'm going to explain to you what it means by the untagged VLAN. As what I mentioned just now, when you are using access, so when using access, PVID, we have inbound and outbound. Inbound to the switch port, I tag. Outbound from the switch port, I untag. That is on the access link type. So all based on the PVID. But for this hybrid, it's slightly different. For hybrid, they have two. Okay, so for the PVID itself, it's only meant for inbound, untag is for outbound. So that is the only differences. All right, so for hybrid PVID, when the frame go in to the switch port, they will tag based on what your VLAN are defined on the port. And what type of the VLAN I'm going to untag when I going out from the switch port. That is on the untag. So they have two options here. So you need to specify two different steps over here. So always remember on this, on the hybrid, they will have two options. Okay, so I will just give you one example here.
Moran.
So right now I have 3 PC here. So I have PVID, PVID, PVID. So I have PC A, B, and C. So when my PVID for A is 5, 10, 20. So every single PC I have belong to the different PVID. All right, maybe I will add one more. PCD. This PCD have a same PVID of 20. All right. So based on the PVID that I have, I will have 20, 20, 5, and 10. So when a frame come from PCC, go into the switch, what the switch will perform? A switch will going to add a 20. based on your PVID, I add a tag of 20 into the frame. But by this time, the switch will not forward the traffic because of, based on the hybrid link type, you have to untag for the traffic to go outbound. You have inbound is based on your PVID, outbound is based on untag. It means that under this port on the PVID 20, I have to issue another command is called untag 20. For them to going out, able to go out from this port, I need to set the untag 20. All right, same case to this. I need to add the untag 20 for the switch port. But the benefit, the differences compared to the access, for the hybrid, you can do it like this. You can have more than one untag. So let's, on this port, I untag 20 as well as I untag VLAN 5. For PCA, I untag 5 as well as 20. And PCB, I also untag 10 and 5. So for PCA, I also untag 10. So in this environment right now, by using a hybrid, you will find that a PCC can talk to who? They can talk to PCD. Because when I have a tag of VLAN 20, where can I go out? I can go out either port D and port A. Well, port A is untagged VLAN 20. Port D is untagged VLAN 20. All right. PCB, where can I go? When the traffic going into the switch will going to tag as a VLAN 10. When it's VLAN 10, where can I go? I can only go out from the PCA because they untag VLAN 10. Okay. It means that a PCA right now can talk to B and C, but you can't talk to D because PCD, they didn't untag VLAN 5. All right, so this one, hybrid, will be very flexible for you to communicate with a different VLAN. But for you to doing so, you need to enable hybrid link type to all the switch port to able to support this method of the hybrid link. Okay, this is what you need to be aware when you're doing on the hybrid link type. All right, hope that you understand on this. Let's say you have any question, just take note, then later you can ask on the Q&A section. So hybrid port are defined as either tagged or untagged. Okay, and VLAN communication can be managed on a port by a port basis. So you can say that which port can talk to which port is based on how you're specifying the untagged VLAN. Inbound, just let me write one more time. Inbound tag based on PVID. Outbound untag based on untag VLAN. So that will be the two things what you need to take note under hybrid. Because as I mentioned, access, inbound, outbound are based on the PVID. But hybrid are different. Hybrid, inbound tag based on PVID, outbound untag based on the untag VLAN. All right. Then the next one is on the VLAN assignment method. How we can assign VLAN to the user. So there are few methods here. The VLAN assignment that we have is on the port base. That is very common. Most of the time you're using this method. Based on every single port, I assign what VLAN they belong to. I can say that port 1 to port 5 belong to VLAN 5. Just configure based on the interface itself. Okay. Secondly, they're based on MAC base, the MAC address basis. So in this case, using this method, you need to be aware. When using this method, you can only using this method when you are using the hybrid. For the port base, you can use either access or hybrid. For MAC base, they only support based on hybrid. What it means from this MAC base, it means that based on the MAC address, oh, you are 0001020304AA. Okay, you are belong to VLAN 5. Where CC, you belong to VLAN 5 as well. So this one based on the MAC address binding. So I don't care which switch port you're connecting to, as long as I have this binding table in my switches, I will assign a correct VLAN to you. But at the first place, you need to specify the link type as a hybrid. Let's say they have another 3 more type. The other one is on the IP subnet base. Same things. This is also based on hybrid. So this one they can based on your IP subnet. Based on IP segment, when you have a 10.01.0.24, okay, you are VLAN 5. When you are 2x24, you belong to VLAN 10. So this one based on the IP subnet base, based on your IP segment. They also support based on the protocol base. They can be IP, IPX, or IPv6, MPLS IP. So all this can be specified based on the protocol base. And this also supported only on the hybrid. Only hybrid can support on this protocol base. And the last one, policy base. This policy base, same, only support based on hybrid. They can based on IP subnet interface with the MAC address. So you can combine the assignment method we go through just now, port base, MAC base, IP subnet base, protocol base, combine together as a policy. So it means that this one, you make it very secure. First, I need to know that you have to come from port 1. Your IP address must be 10.0.10 or 10.0.10.24 with the MAC address of AA. Then only I will assign a VLAN 5 to you. But the drawback here is for you to using this 4 type, you can only use supporting on the hybrid, but not for access. That will be the drawback. So it means that in your environment, let's say you have a mixed vendors environment, then in this case, you might not able to use this method. You have to use back the standard one as a port base. Okay, so there are 5 methods of VLAN assignment are possible. Port-based VLAN assignment is a default assignment method. Then this is what always we are using based on the port-based VLAN. Okay, that is very, very common. All other vendors are based on this method who assign the VLAN information. So far, for this one is how we're going to specify to create a VLAN, how we're going to define the VLAN. So there are 2 options, 2 methods for us to define the VLAN. First, just define VLAN 10. Okay, VLAN 10. And next, you can select a batch of the VLAN, a range of the VLAN from VLAN batch 2 to 3. Or you also can specify this VLAN batch 2 to 10. So in total, I will configure about 9 VLAN in totals. Or let's say you do not want to be in the range, you also can define like this. VLAN batch 10, 20, 30 to 35, 40. So you can define, you can create a VLAN by a single VLAN 10, 20, 30 to 35, a range, and 40. So this is how you're going to add a range and a single VLAN at one single command. All right, this is how we're going to create a VLAN, as well as how we're going to check our VLAN by using the display VLAN to check what VLAN in total that we have. So that is how we specifying the port link type, how we configure a port link type as a trunk, as such. So always you have to go to the interface first, port link type, trunk, quit, go to interface 005, port link type, as such. And this is how we assign the port to the VLAN. So you have two methods. Either you go to the VLAN 2 and say that, hey, right now I want to add gigabit 007 is belong to the port 2, or another option is go to the interface gigabit 005, port link type as such, port default VLAN 3. So you have this is the first option, and this is the second option for you to apply to assign the VLAN to the port. That is how the VLAN assignment is being done. This is how you're going to verify doing the display VLAN. And forward over the trunk. When you forward over the trunk, first, this optional. Do you want to change your PVID? And what VLAN need to be allowed? This is your PVID. This is a allowed VLAN. What VLAN that's been allowed? Okay. So by default, let's say you're not specifying this command. By default, by default,
What?
only VLAN 1 are allowed. Okay, that's by default. So this is over a trunk connection. So when I have a VLAN 2, VLAN 3, VLAN 2, VLAN 3. So in this case, I define the trunk allow VLAN 2 and 3 to pass through the trunk. That's by default, they're not allowed. And for you to check, then you will find that here, I have VLAN 2, VLAN 3. VLAN 2, untag, untag. From port 7, port 5. Tag, port 1. Tag, port 1. So this one is telling you that which port has been tagged and which port is untagged. Okay, based on the display VLAN command. And the last one is on the how we specifying based on the hybrid. Based on the hybrid, we have port link type hybrid, PVID VLAN 3, untagged VLAN 3. As I mentioned, this is a inbound, and this is a outbound. So you always need to specify these two. Inbound is equal to what, and outbound is what. Let's say without the outbound, you are can't able to communicate. Even you are under a same VLAN, you must set the outbound. Okay. Just now, this option is on the hybrid port. There's a hybrid access, hybrid access, hybrid access, and hybrid access. And the next one here is that is on the hybrid trunk. From the trunk link, I define hybrid. I need to tag which VLAN I allow. Allow VLAN 2 and allow VLAN 3. Okay, that's how what we can specify when you specifying the link type.
Extension is here.
So trunk is between the switches. Okay, hybrid trunk. And this is how we're going to verify. Based on the display VLAN, we found that on the VLAN 2, untag, tag, VLAN 3, untag, tag. All right, and how we configure this on the trunk? Okay, port link type hybrid, PVID, VLAN 3, untag, VLAN 2, VLAN 3 on port number 4. So in this case, it means that port number 4, when the traffic comes into the switch port, I belong to VLAN 3. Who can go up? It can be VLAN 2 and VLAN 3. This is how it's specifying. based on the gate 004. And this is the validation. How you validate the VLAN information, that is what information that we have. All right, so over here, I will just show you a quick one that on the simulation. So I think that everybody, you should see my screen. Am I right? So you should see this. So what we have over here, I will have the multiple PC below. They have different VLAN. So for this configuration, has been defined already. So you can see on the switch 1, we have a VLAN batch 1020, interface gate 0010, link type access, default VLAN 10, gate 0020, VLAN 20, gate 0012, allowed VLAN all. So we have VLAN 10, VLAN 20, allowed VLAN all. Okay, we have VLAN 10, VLAN 20, allowed VLAN all, allowed VLAN all. So that is on the hybrid. Hybrid, we have VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 99. So let us have a look in this switch number 1.
Okay.
Okay, under switch number 1, display. First, I will check what VLAN that I have. Okay, I will have VLAN 1 is all default. Okay, by default, all the port is belong to the VLAN 1. I have VLAN 10, VLAN 20. VLAN 10 is untagged 10, tag is 12. Untagged 20, tag is 12. Okay, let's check on the topology. When gate 0010 going in is untagged. When going out to gate 0012, that will be tagged. All right. Switch 2 connecting to PC3. Let's have a look on switch number 2. Display VLAN. I have port 10, VLAN 10, VLAN 20. Port 10 untagged, port 20 untagged. Okay. Port 12 is tagged, port 23 is tagged. All right, yes, untagged and tagged. So right now, what I'm going to do, I'll go into my PC. I go into my PC1 here. This is my PC1 with the address of 10.1.10.1. So under PC1, I'm going to do a ping to 10.1.10.3. So you found that I'm able to go. Because of PC1 and PC3 belong to the same VLAN. But how sure that to know that they belong to the same VLAN? So let me just show you something. I'll just open up the Wireshark, okay, a packet capture to capture the information that has been passed through between the switches. Okay, hold on. Let me just bring up this. All right, that is my Wireshark. The link between the two parts. Okay, between switch 1 and switch 2, I capture on the gate 0012. And now I go back to the PC again and ping one more time, 10.1.10.3. Go back to my Wireshark. So you found that the ICMP packet going across. That is my ICMP. From 10.1.10.1 go to 10.1.10.3. So you see that is my frame, Ethernet 2.1Q, IPv4, and my ICMP. So under the .1Q, you see that they have a tag of VLAN 10.
Hello.
Hello, yes?
But I think generally the connection is not very good.
So whoever just joined, can you please mute your mic? Thank you.
Yeah,
please.
should be the same.
Yeah, Samuel, please mute your mic at the moment. We have a section Q&A session later part. All right. Just take note what the question you want to ask. Later, I will have a Q&A section. So,
Okay.
Under the .1 queue, so in this case, you found that they have a, that is my priority. I have my CFI. I also have my VLAN ID. My VLAN ID will be 10. That is correct because of when PC1 is VLAN 10. When I go in, switch 1, there is untag and tag going out to the G0012. See that? It's a tag. I tag G0012 going out from my interface. Okay, this one, it make it clear that how the tag has been performed. When access, they will remove. So let's say you were not sure on this, I will going to open another Wireshark facing to the PC3. Okay, PC3. This is my second Wireshark. So I'll go back to my PC1 standby. So let me filter ICMP first. All right, I go back to the PC1 and I ping. So you receive. So the link between the switch going to the host 3. So you see that 10.1.10.1 ping to 10.1.10.3. So you found that they have without the .1 queue. They have no VLAN attached in this frame. Is that right? So for this one, this is how the tag and untag is being performed. So when I traffic going in, switch 1 tag a VLAN 10. Going out, I just allow. When going out to the PC3, I untag. So how the tag is been carried, has been allowed, they have to do this. Display a port VLAN. So you will find that under the port 12 is allowed trunk VLAN list. Allowed VLAN list is VLAN 1 to 4094. I allow all the VLAN to pass through my trunk connection. Yeah, this is on the access and trunk connection. Then the next one I'm going to show you over here is on the hybrid VLAN. We have VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 99. So based on my configuration over here, you should know that who can talk to who. Which VLAN can talk to which VLAN. Let's go through one by one. I will have a gig 001. My PVID is 99. So PC7 is 99. Untag 10, 20, 99. Port 10, PC5. My PVID is 10. Untag 10 and 99. PCC, port 20. PVID 20. Untag 20 and 99. So you found that who can talk to who? PC5, PC6 can talk to PC7. But PC5 and PC6, they can't talk to each other. Let's have a look. Go to my PC5. Let's try ping. First, I'm going to ping to 10.1.99.7. That's going to the PC7. You see that I can ping across. But can I go to the PC6, 20.6? So I can't ping. So PC5 can ping to PC7 even though they're VLAN 10 and 99. They are different VLAN. Let's look at the configuration on the switch number 3. I have display VLAN. So you see that on the VLAN 99, how many untag I have? Untag gig number 1, 10, and 20. What it means for this information is that when I receive a frame with the tag of 99, I can go out either port 1, port 10, and port 20. These are the 3 ports that allow VLAN 99 to going out. All right, this is outbound. For VLAN 10, where can I go out? I can go out only from 2 interfaces, port 1 and port 10. For VLAN ID, VLAN 20, I can go out only port 1 and port 20. If let's say right now, I want to allow 10, 20. Port 20 and port 10 can talk to each other. What I need to do, I will just have to do it like this. Go to the interface gate 10. I will set that port hybrid untag VLAN 20. And interface gate 20, I will say port hybrid untag VLAN 10. So I will just add these two, untag VLAN 10 and untag VLAN 20, white versa. Okay, let's have a look. Let me just show you again on the display VLAN. So from this point, you will find that for VLAN 10 itself, where can I go out? I can go out from 10 or 20. VLAN 20 from 10 or 20. At this moment, PC5. Just now, I can't ping to 20.6, and now you found that I'm able to ping already. So that will be the difference compared between hybrid access and access. Okay, you found the differences over here. So far, that will be on the VLAN stuff I'm going to bring up to you guys. Because I have a few more topics I'm going to go through, so I need to proceed to the next topic. So let's say I have any question, you just take note, then you ask me after that. Okay, let me just change my topic. So the next topic that I covered over here will be on the spanning tree protocol. So under spanning tree. So spanning tree is very basic, it's very common protocol to use at the old time. Because most of the time nowadays, they try to avoid using spanning tree already. They try to do it everything as using either channel, okay, link aggregation. But I would, because this one will be covered in your exam, so you at least you need to grab some ideas. What if on the spanning tree? What are the function of the spanning tree? What are the mode that we support in Huawei? So under the spanning tree itself, they will under the spanning tree is stand for the STP here. So you found that from here. Okay, there was spanning tree. Based on the objective over here, they were going to say, going to describe the issue faced when using a multi-switches network, explain the loop prevention process of the spanning tree protocol, and configure the parameters for managing the STP network design. How we are going to design our spanning tree. So, but before that, let me just introduce. For Huawei, they will support 4 different types of spanning tree. A normal spanning tree, STP. They have support rapid spanning tree. They have multi-instant spanning tree, as well as the VBST, a VLAN-based spanning tree. So they have 4 different spanning trees that supported on Huawei. But under HCNA topic, they will only cover the first 2. Okay, these 2 will be under your HCMP. So that is what we're going to cover on the spanning tree and also a rapid spanning tree protocol. But because of today have a limited time, so I will just go through a bit of introduction of the spanning tree itself. So first of all, why we need to use spanning tree? Okay, this all because of the layer 2 redundancy. Because of when you have redundancy of the layer 2 network, let's say I will have a switches, switch 1, switch 2. When they have only one connection, everything looks fine. But when you make it as a redundant connection, what will happen? The loop will happen. Because of, let's say, a very common bucket, ARP. ARP request. When ARP request is being sent out, a loop can be easily happen when you creating the redundancy connection under your layer 2. So you see that from here, let's say I'm going to have two links. When I have two links, when one of them sending the ARP request, they are sent on both directions. When the port receive, I forward everything. When port receive, I forward again. When receive, I forward. Receive, I forward. So they keep on forward to each other and creating the loop internally from here. So between switch 1, switch 2, right now, they will causing the a loop happening. Okay, when the ARP broadcasts are sending out. That will be the only way that happen when you have redundant connection on your layer 2. That will cause the broadcast storm. This is one of the example here. So you see that the redundancy connection here is between A, B, C. Okay, they will see that they form a loop from here. So when the broadcast packet come from host A, sending across, B send to A send to C, and C send back to B. So that is how the loop is being created. Although the example just now I mentioned it be about the same, but that is only between the two switches. So the loop can be more than two switches. Okay, it can form between 4 switches like this. When you have 4 switches, okay, this also can form a loop easily, and it can have multiple loop as well. So it depends on how the environment that it has been built. So the loop you can be easily formed through your layer 2. That's why when you are going to put a redundant connection under your layer 2, you have 2 options. First option, enable spanning tree. Second option, a LAG, a link aggregation group. So you're going to link aggregate them doing the ether channel between the link, so to prevent the loop happening. Okay, so that is the first thing. When you have redundant connection under a layer 2, you can easily form a broadcast storm. A broadcast storm happen, they're going to affect your utilization of your entire network. You're going to make very slow of your network, or even can't be accessible. And another caused by the layer 2 redundancy, you be the MAC instabilities. Your MAC address flapping between 2 different plots. So we know that on the behavior of the switches, switch will learn based on the source MAC address. Okay, when switch B receive a frame, I know that you come from AA. So I will take note that port 3, this is your MAC address. But after I send, because I want to know where is the destination, after a single loop happen, come back to switch B learn from other interface. Let's say this one is a gate 1. I will learn from gate 1. Okay, gate 1. Definitely, another loop happen the other side. When BCA go back to B, then they say that, hey, I learned another new MAC address. It's not from port 1, it's from port 2. So they keep on flapping between 2 and 1, 2 and 1. And this interface is not the correct direction. They're not from port 3. So in this case, you make your MAC address unstable. Okay, MAC address table flapping when your broadcast happening in your environment. All right. So that is have 2 issues you be created when you have layer 2 redundancy. Without spanning tree enable, you having the broadcast storm easily and MAC instabilities. To resolve the layer 2 redundancy issue, it's very simple. What you need, you just have to shut down one of the interface manually or using the spanning tree protocol to allow them to decide by themselves to do the own calculation. So loops are eliminated by restricting the traffic flow over the redundant part. So as long as you have eliminated, restricted, then the connection will be go fine. So it means that whichever traffic that I send, but they have no return. This one is not allowed. Okay. So when one of the interface is being blocked, your loop will be fine. So that's why we need to have a spanning tree to help us to dynamically define where is my alternate port. You never do it manually because you never know how when the link go down. You need to do it manually. It will be very troublesome. So under the STP, first we need to perform on the root bridge to tell that who will be our root bridge. So based on the root, within a single spanning tree, we have a single root bridge. Okay, every single spanning tree itself, they have one root bridge. So it means that let's say you have 5 switches together. They want to form a single spanning tree, you can have only one root bridge. And all the non-root bridge, you need to talk to the root bridge. Okay, an inverted tree architecture is created as a result of the spanning tree. When you have a root created, then I'm going to form the shortest spanning tree. Okay, and the root bridge represent the base of the spanning tree that is on the root. So this is all your leaf, your leaf, your leaf, your leaf. This is your spine. Okay, everything need to go into the root before you go to the other leaf. Okay, that is on the root bridge. So based on the root bridge, that is how they're going to select. They need to do some sort of negotiation to define who are the root bridge. Based on the root bridge, how to define, how to elect, how to negotiate, they're based on the bridge ID. They're based on a bridge ID to identify that who you become the root in my spanning tree. Okay, under the bridge ID, they have 2 portions. The bridge ID in total, they have 8 bytes. Okay, 2 bytes of the priority and 6 bytes of the MAC address. So as in this example here, you see under the root, we have priority of 4096 and followed by the my MAC address. 32768 followed by the MAC address. 32768 followed by the MAC address. So this is the information that I have under the bridge ID. And the default priorities of the bridge ID is always to be 32768.00E0FC. This is your vendor code of MAC address. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is your serial numbers. So how they're going to identify that who you become a root bridge? So always first we compare. First that we compare here is as a priorities. Whoever have a smallest priorities numbers will act as a root bridge. So in these examples, root is 4096 is the smallest compared to the rest. That's the rest all are 32768, 32768. Okay, when compare among these priorities, 4096 will be the smallest, and this will become the root bridge. But what if, let's say right now, this is not 4096, this is 32768. It's a default. So that's how I know that who you become the root bridge. Same thing, this switch you become the root bridge as well when you compare based on the MAC address. When the priority are the same, they will select the smallest MAC address. Okay, 0304AA, BB, CC, DD, EEFF. AA is still the smallest. So that is how they define based on the bridge ID. So this will still become the root bridge when they compare based on the bridge ID information. And when you modifying the priorities, they need to be defined. This is a bridge ID priorities. They can be start from 0, because it's 2 byte. It be up to 65535. Okay, this is a bridge ID priorities. But when you cannot define any VLAN that any priority that you want, they need to have follow the step of 4096. So it means that the first priority you can set under the bridge ID, it be 0. Secondly, 4096, then 8192, and so on. So every time you have to be incremental of 4096. That will be the priority that we can set. You cannot set any numbers. They have to be followed based on the rules. You tell that there must be a step of 4096. This is on the bridge priorities. Next. And how they're going to exchange? How going to exchange the bridge ID among the switches? They're based on this one. They're based on the BPDU. Based on the BPDU, identify that who you are and how they negotiate between the switches. Okay, they're based on the BPDU. What is inside the BPDU? So below here, they show you that their PVID, the version, the type of the BPDU, flag root ID, RPC, bridge ID, and port ID. Maximum aging, max aging, hello time, and the forward delay. But the most important inside the BPDU, first, the type. What BPDU type that you are using? Okay, when you talk about the spanning tree, there are 2 different types of the BPDU. Configuration as well as a topology change notification. For RSTP, they only have RST BPDU. Okay, that will be the difference. So on the spanning tree, they need to send the configuration BPDU as well as a TCN BPDU. Under different scenarios, they're going to send a different BPDU. It depends on what type of environment you are in at the moment. But normally, they will just send the configuration BPDU. TCN is only when a topology change. When a topology change, then only I will send the topology change notification to notify the user said that, hey, right now they have a changes of the notification. Please renew or please update the root bridge information within the spanning tree. Okay, this is the important part under your BPDU, the type of the BPDU. Then secondly, root ID, RPC, bridge ID, and the port ID. So under here, they have a root ID. The root ID is called root bridge ID. Who are the root and the bridge ID information? And secondly, root path cost. The path cost of every single non-root bridge to the root bridge. So this one is the matrix. The matrix. Then the next one will be the bridge ID. This is a local bridge ID. What is your local bridge ID? And the last one is your port ID. Port ID is very similar to the bridge ID. They also divided to 2 portions. but in total, they will have only 2 bytes. 1 byte priority and 1 byte as a port numbers. Okay, there's the port ID information. So later we're going to cover on this for the sequence. So they appear a sequence. Sequence number 1, sequence number 2, number 3, number 4. So when I select the root bridge, they always start from point number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, from top to bottom. So first I need to compare. Your root bridge ID and my root bridge ID is it the same? So if let's say it's the same, what are the path calls for me and you going to the root bridge? Let's say are the same, then they compare the local bridge ID. Let's say the bridge ID also the same, then they compare the port ID. So this is how they're going to doing the negotiation based on the sequence. So this is a path calls. So the root path calls is a carry in the BBDU and used to determine the shortest path to the root. So when this is a root bridge, the rest is a non-root. Okay, everybody you call as a non-root bridge. So every single connection they connect between the root to the non-root bridge, they have a cost. There is a cost. 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000. The RPC, this RPC is sent by upstream. Okay, this to tell that, hey, the root will send the RPC to tell the non-root bridge. For the root, go back to the root, my root path cost is 0. Okay. Then this RPC, this is also sent by upstream. So this non-root bridge tell the downstream non-root bridge, hey, for myself, let me just name it. This is a switch B. I will tell switch C, hey, switch C, for switch B, go to a root bridge, go to the root bridge. My RPC is 20,000. Okay, I will tell switch C, what are the distance between the switch B going to the root bridge? My RPC is 20,000. Okay, so in this case, for switch C, go to root bridge, in total, it be 40,000. They need to plus the between the path between B and the root, as well as the C to the B. So when add up together, is 40,000. So you need to know that the difference here, they have their own cost, and they will have a RPC. Okay, this is a local cost. RPC sent by upstream. Okay, upstream give it to you, tell that for myself going to the root bridge, this is the numbers. When I give it to you, you decide whether you want to use or not. That is on the path cost. Okay, so just like in these examples, I make this is a switch D. For switch B and switch D, how many way they have going to the root bridge? So for switch D, I have 1 way and 2 way. I have 2 way to reach to the root bridge. But which way I will select? Then I will compare. One RPC tell me is a 0. Another RPC tell me is 20,000. Then definitely I will select the lowest one. The lowest one will be 0. So I will select this is my primary way. And this is my alternate. I should block one of the interface from here. Okay, that is based on the path calls to specifying that who are the root bridge. Yeah, this is path calls. Based on the path calls, they have a different standard. They will have a 802.1d, okay, .1t, and a legacy. So it depends on which vendor that you are using. When you are using Huawei standard, they're using the .1t. Okay, .1t is the default standard used by the Huawei switches. So let's say we will use for other vendors, they might use for 1D or the path calls legacy. But all this can be easily modified. But when you're modifying the path calls, you have to modify to all the switches. Need to be modified as well. Yeah, that is a standard of the path calls. So under the spanning tree port row, so under spanning tree, they have 3 different port row. They have a designated root port and alternate port. Okay, let's use this example to explain to you. So they have a, let me just write it down on top. They have a root port, designated port, and they have an alternate port. Okay, so when I selected this is the root. So I just name it this A, this B, C, D, E, F. I just name every single one with 1 characters. Okay, when root is A, so root A will tell B, myself is a RPC, myself is RPC. Okay, both know that. So a non-root bridge, RP is for the non-root bridge must have 1 root port. This root port is to tell you that there is a port for you to go to the root bridge, the shortest way. Okay, so this way, this port and this port is for this non-root bridge going to the root bridge, having the shortest path. Path of 0, path of 0. Yeah, the shortest one. Because for B, I have 2 options, either using 0 or 20,000. Which one I will select? I will select 0 as my best. Same case to C as well. I have 0, 20,000, I will select 0. So I found that have a redundant connection over here. That is my report. Every single non-root bridge, they have 1 root port. Same to router switch D. 1 root port, 1 root port, 1 root port. All right. Then they have a designated. Designated.
Can you mute your audio, please?
BBDU. Designated port is the one who sent out the BBDU. So this is the one, the port send out BBDU, send out BBDU, send out BBDU, and send out BBDU. As well as this, send out BBDU. Sorry, whoever just joined, can you mute your mic, please? Thank you. You see that on the switch B itself, there are 1 called alternate. This is the designated, this is alternate. When it's alternate, you will just say accept BBDU. But not send BBDU. So alternate port is only accepting, but they are not sending out the BBDU. Okay, only receiving, but it's not accepting anything. So this alternate port is to prevent the loop happening. When it's alternate, this port will be blocked. Okay, it'll be blocked. When the port being blocked, you can't send any traffic going out from that interface. Okay, that are the 3 different port rows that we have on the spanning tree. So again, we have a designated. Designated is the one who send BBDU. Root port is the one who receive BBDU, and the shortest port to root bridge. And alternate port is just blocking. It's just block. Sorry. Okay, that what you need to take note on this under the spanning tree port row. So there are 3 different port row. Right. So this one is on the port ID. All right, yeah. So when you see that from here, this is a root port. The root bridge, sorry. This is the root bridge 04AA, 04BB, 04CC. So compare based on the MAC address and compare the priority, this one become the root bridge. Okay, everyone will be agree. So when you are the root bridge, okay. Only root bridge send the BBDU. The rest is just forwarding BBDU. Yeah, the rest is forwarding. Only root bridge are sending. Root bridge generating the BBDU out from their interface. All the non-root bridge are just forwarding the BBDU itself. As just now what I mentioned, under the BBDU, they will have 4 steps. First one, root bridge ID. Secondly, root path course. Thirdly, local bridge ID. And the 4th, port ID. So they will have 4 information they're going to send out inside the BBDU. So what I'm going to send, let's say this is a root. I will send out the BBDU. I'm just using a short form. I'm using a bracket to say that my bridge ID, the root bridge ID is 04-AA. My root path course, 0. Local bridge, 04-AA. And my port ID, let's say I assume that this is a port number 1. This is a port number 2. I will have 128.1. All right. Okay. So below I also send another BBDU 04AA. Then root path code 0, 04AA, and 128.2. So this .1 and .2 is depend on the port numbers. Okay, because this one you have a 1 priority and 1 port number. This priority. Okay, so when the switch over here, switch B, switch C, switch A. When switch B receive these 2 BBDU, then I will compare one by one. Hey, this BBDU, who are the root bridge? 04AA, 04AA, they are the same. The next, I compare, hey, what are their root path course? Oh, 0 as well, it's the same. Then they compare the local bridge ID. Same as well. Then as the last one, they compare the port ID. The port ID, first what they compare? They compare the priority first. Same thing. Whichever having the smaller priority, you are the best. But when both are 128, 128, then they compare the port numbers. Whoever have the smallest port numbers, you be the best way. So that's why this interface, you become the report. And this interface become alternate. That is how we define the port ID. Port ID only used when the first 3 RPID RPC and the LBID are the same, the last thing they're going to use a PID to differentiate that where is my best way. Okay, that is the criteria. So far, all right, right? So that is on how they are going to perform the root bridge information. This is on the spanning tree itself. So that what you need to be aware. As well as next thing I we're going to cover here is on the timers. What type of timers that we are using in Dodos? So we have a maximum aging represent the aging timer for the BBDU, and the BBDU are discarded when the message age exceed the maximum aging. Okay, so when start from the root, this is a root. Root will send BBDU every 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds, I will send out one BBDU. Okay, when I send out for one, it start from 0, 1 hop, and 2. So it means that how far it can go. It can go to up to maximum aging 20. I can go up to 20 switches far away. That's all. Let's say you have 20 switches and 21 switches behind that you cannot receive BBDU already. Okay, that is what we call as a maximum aging. But every 2 seconds, they will. This is not 21. Every 2 seconds, they will send one BBDU. Okay, when the non-root bridge or non-root receive the BBDU, I will forward. Okay, you're modifying the BBDU and forward, but they must learn the BBDU from the root. Let's say the root are not sending the BBDU, I will just keep quiet. I will not send anything. I have to wait until my root bridge send me the BBDU. Okay, that's why the maximum aging, they will keep on increase one by one, keep on increasing up to 20. When it's up to 20, that BBDU will be discarded. All right, that's the timer that we have. As what I mentioned just now, for the root election process, we have a switch A, B, C. So in this, where is the loop? That have a loop in this case, okay, have redundant connection. So for switch A, that is a MAC address, 16 EE43, 41, 42, 59, 41, 43, 69. Okay, so when I send BBDU out, send BBDU out. So who will be the root bridge in this case? So root bridge symbol, how they compare? They compare the first priorities. They have compared the priority first, then only they compare the MAC address. So first, this is a 32768, 32768, and 32768. All right, yeah? They're all the same. When they're all the same, then they compare what? They compare the MAC address. So which one is the smallest? So switch A will be the smallest, 16. The other two is 41. So this one will become the root bridge. When this is become a root bridge, then the next step, I will have to define who are the root port. So who are the root port in this case? For switch B, this will be the root port, easily. Because of this is RPC, 0. RPC, 0. This RPC, 20,000. So I'll always select the direct connected to the root bridge as a root port. Okay. Always, when you are the root bridge, all the interface you'll be always as the designated port. Always. Because designated port is the one who send out the BPDU. So right now, the thing is this port and this port. Which port is a alternate and which port is a designated? Okay, let's compare like this. So same thing. I will just write it down from here on top. B to C. Okay, C to B. So B will send BBDU to C with 4 information inside. C also will send to B for 4 information. Okay, so first is my root bridge ID. My root bridge ID over here is 414259. My root path cost, what's my root path cost? 20,000. My local bridge ID, sorry, my mistake. Let me just clean up a bit. All right. So for this one, the root bridge ID is a 16EE43. This is a root bridge ID. This is a root path cost to the root bridge ID, and my local bridge ID is 414259. And the port, just let me give it a port. Port 01, both are the same, port 01. Okay, 128.1. For C to B, C will tell B 16, EE 43, 20,000. 41, 43, 69, 128.1. Okay, right now they compare. Which port is a designated, which port is alternate? All right, let's check one by one. First one, 16EE43. Is it same? Yes, they are the same. Secondly, is the RPC is the same as well? Yes, 20,000, 20,000. Then third, 414259, 414369. When they compare to the local bridge ID, who is smallest? So you can clearly to tell that B is smallest. When B is smallest, this B, this port will be the designated port, and this port will be alternate port. All right, this is how they're going to design, how they're going to elect based on the BBDU information. So always you just have to grab the idea of these 4 information. For these 4 information, you should know how they perform on the selection. All right. So that is first on the route. This one is just purely the route election. On the next page is a port row establishment. So see that there is a designated, alternate, and this is a report. As the same what I draw just now, all the information RPC 0, RPC 0, RPC 20,000. That is how they compare, how they come out with this election. All right, that is on the